If you are over 60 and looking for a used car, the chances are every dealer you visit is showing you exactly the wrong thing. Overpriced and overcomplicated, full of screens and sensors you never wanted and bills you never saw coming. What nobody is telling you is that 5 of the most reliable used cars in Britain right now start from as little as £3,000, are simpler to drive, and will outlast nearly every new car on sale today. Here are the 5 best cars for seniors, starting with number 5. 5. Toyota Yaris. There is a specific kind of frustration that builds up quietly when your car starts feeling like too much to deal with. Touchscreens that require 3 taps to change the temperature. Parking sensors that beep constantly at nothing. A gear selector buried so low you have to lean sideways to reach it. Modern cars have somehow managed to make simple tasks complicated, and for older drivers who just want to get from A to B without a fuss, that is genuinely exhausting. The Toyota Yaris does none of that. The controls are physical knobs and buttons placed exactly where your hand reaches without looking. The steering is light enough that maneuvering through a tight supermarket car park or reversing into a narrow space on the high street requires almost no effort. The visibility out of the cabin is clear and unobstructed, which matters enormously when you are navigating a busy roundabout and need to see what is actually happening around you, rather than relying on a camera system to interpret it for you. It is also small enough to go where other cars cannot, without ever feeling fragile or flimsy. Town centres, narrow country lanes, multi-storey car parks, the Yaris handles all of it without asking anything difficult of the driver. And then there is the reliability. The Warranty-Wise Reliability Index 2026 placed the Toyota Yaris at the very top of its entire list. Number 1. Not in its class, but as overall. When repairs are needed, they are typically straightforward and inexpensive, with parts available at any garage across Britain. Used examples from the 2011 to 2020 generation sit comfortably under £5,000, with the best kept ones closer to £3,000 to £4,500. For older drivers who want something dependable, simple, and completely unfussy, the Yaris is exactly that. 4. Honda Jazz. There is a problem that creeps up on older drivers so gradually that most people do not notice it until it has already changed their habits completely. The boot is too small for everything you need to carry. The weekly shop does not quite fit. The grandchildren's buggy requires a 15-minute wrestling match to fold down small enough. The bags from a garden centre visit end up on the back seat because there simply is not enough room anywhere else. Slowly and without any dramatic moment, the car starts limiting what you are willing to do rather than supporting it. The Honda Jazz was built around the opposite idea entirely. The fuel tank on the Jazz sites beneath the front seats rather than under the boot floor. That single engineering decision freed up more usable boot space than most cars an entire class above can offer. The rear seats fold completely flat using Honda's Magic Seat system, quickly and without any effort, turning the Jazz into something closer to a small van when you need it to be. A wheelchair, flat pack furniture, luggage for a fortnight away, it all goes in without any awkward manoeuvring or compromises. The cabin itself is airy and tall, with a seating position that gives you a clear view out without straining. The controls are physical buttons and dials that respond immediately. Nothing complicated, nothing that requires navigating through menus while you are trying to concentrate on something else. What Cars Used Reliability Survey ranked the Jazz among the very best small cars available, and Honda as a brand finished 4th overall out of every manufacturer tested. Over 1.5 million Jazz models have been sold across Europe since launch, not because of clever marketing, but because owners keep recommending them to everyone they know. Clean used examples from the 2008 to 2015 generation sit between £3,000 and £6,500 across the UK. For older drivers who need a car that works as hard as they do without ever making life more complicated than it needs to be, the Jazz delivers that quietly and completely. 3. Vauxhall Meriva. Most people have never heard of the Vauxhall Meriva. That is precisely why it belongs on this list. While everyone else was queuing up for Qashqais and overpaying for crossovers they did not need, a relatively small number of British drivers quietly discovered something that the car industry somehow forgot to shout about. The Meriva has rear-hinged back doors, not as a gimmick, not as a design statement, as a genuinely practical feature that changes how accessible a car feels every single day. Both the front and rear doors open outward from the center pillar and swing wide, wider than almost any other car in its class. There is no awkward pillar blocking the gap when you are trying to get in, no squeezing through a narrow opening, no contorting yourself around a door that has not swung far enough. You step in and sit down, and that is the whole process. For anyone managing stiff hips, arthritis, or simply finding that getting in and out of cars has become the most uncomfortable part of any journey, that door arrangement is not a small detail. It is the reason to buy this car over almost everything else at the price. And the price is remarkable. Clean used examples from the 2010 to 2017 generation sit between £2,500 and £6,000, depending on age, mileage, and condition. Over 900,000 were sold across Europe during its production run, and owner satisfaction surveys consistently rate it highly for everyday reliability and low running costs. Parts are widely available at any garage across Britain. It will never be the most exciting car you have ever read about. But if getting in and out of your car has started to feel like something you dread, rather than something you do without thinking, the Meriva deserves your full attention. 2. Ford Focus Mark III. There is a specific kind of anxiety that comes with driving a car nobody local can fix. You are 2 hours from home on a run to see family and something starts sounding wrong. You pull into the nearest garage and the mechanic shakes his head and tells you they do not stock parts for that model, that you will need to go to a specialist, that it could take weeks. For older drivers managing everything on a retirement income, that situation is not just inconvenient, it is genuinely frightening. The Ford Focus Mark III makes that scenario almost impossible. Between 2011 and 2018, the Ford Focus was consistently one of Britain's best-selling cars year after year. Which means there are more of them on British roads than almost any other model. More mechanics who know them inside out. More independent garages with the parts already on the shelf. And more straightforward repairs at prices that do not require 3 days of phone calls to arrange. Wherever you are in Britain, a market town in the Cotswolds, a suburb outside Edinburgh, a village in rural Wales, there is a garage nearby that has worked on a Ford Focus this week. The 1.6 petrol engine in particular is simple, well understood, and completely unfussy. It doesn't ask for specialist knowledge. It does not require expensive dealer-only diagnostics. It just runs. And when it eventually needs attention, that attention is as affordable and accessible as any car on the road today. The driving experience is calm and composed. The steering is light enough for town driving without feeling vague on longer motorway runs. The seating position is comfortable and upright. The instrument cluster is clear and readable without squinting. Used examples from the 2011 to 2018 generation sit between £3,500 and £8,000 depending on age, mileage and condition. For older drivers who want the reassurance of knowing that help is never far away, no car on this list makes that promise more convincingly than the Focus. 1. Toyota RAV4. Every car on this list earns its place for a specific reason. The Yaris for its simplicity, the Jazz for its boot space and flexibility, the Meriva for those extraordinary doors, the Focus for the peace of mind that comes with knowing any garage in Britain can fix it. The RAV4 earns the top spot because it brings everything together at once, and does it at a price that, even 5 or 6 years ago, would have seemed almost impossible for what you are getting. There is a reason retired drivers across Britain keep the RAV4 for 10, 15, even 20 years without ever seriously considering replacing it. It is not because they cannot afford something newer. It is because the RAV4 keeps earning its place every single morning. The seating position is upright and commanding. The view of the road ahead is completely unobstructed. And the confidence it gives you on British roads through busy junctions, tight village lanes and long motorway runs never fades regardless of how many miles go on the clock. The visibility from the driver's seat is outstanding. The seating position is upright and commanding, giving you a clear view of the road ahead, the junction you are approaching, the roundabout where 3 lanes of traffic are merging at once. British roads demand that kind of confidence, and the RAV4 provides it without asking anything difficult of you in return. Toyota Safety Sense comes fitted to post-2016 models as standard. Automatic emergency braking, lane departure warning, road departure mitigation. These systems work quietly in the background, and they are there when it matters, which for older drivers whose reaction times have naturally changed with age is a genuine and meaningful reassurance rather than a marketing feature on a specification sheet. And then there is the reliability. Warranty-wise, consistently places Toyota among the very top manufacturers in Britain for long-term dependability. The RAV4 owners across the country report reaching 150,000 miles and beyond on nothing beyond routine servicing. Oil changes, tyres and filters. That is the whole story. Parts are available at every independent garage across Britain, and no specialist knowledge is required to maintain it. Pre-2019 models in solid condition are available from between £7,000 and £14,000. For that money, you are getting a car that supports your independence, protects you on British roads, and will almost certainly outlast every glossy new model sitting on a dealership forecourt right now. The RAV4 was never trying to be the most glamorous car on this list. It was simply trying to be the one you could trust completely every single morning for as long as you need it. On this list, that makes it number 1 without any argument at all.